Hi, Raven here. Just before we get started, if you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching, then please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. And if you wish to support me further, there's a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description. And one last thing, if there's something you would like me to cover, you can now make requests in my Discord channel. There's a link to it on the channel and in this video's description. Now back to it. This video was requested by a subscriber and they want me to cover how to use the Drongo's map population mod. So that's what I'm going to cover now. I've started sort of laying it out just to save a bit of time. There's a lot to go through, so I've just done a basic version just to get it up and running. They also want to know how to add in missions, so we're going to cover the population and the missions. So first things first, what we need to do is go to the systems, Drongo's map population and this core module. So drop that down, which I have here. We open that up. So for now, we're not going to touch anything in here. We will come back in a minute. One thing to bear in mind is this core module is the center point for the operation area, so you need to move it wherever you want it, but we'll go through that in a sec. The next module we want to add in is this define faction, which I have here. Now I've also put on top of that a trigger. Open the trigger up. It's 100 by 100 and just one high, just so it's easy visible. Now, the units that we put down to define the faction have to be within 200 of the module, which is why I've put the trigger down. So I know any unit I put in that trigger will be covered by the definition module. So let's just go through the units quickly. Now you can have a mixture of factions, so whatever faction you put in here, they will all act together as your enemy. Now I've got here a helicopter, a vehicle and a jet. I'll cover this in a sec. So I've got two squads here. So we go over to Op 4. So we've got a weapons squad and an independent fire team. What I've got here is two there's a driver and a crew member for vehicles, and we've got two here, a pilot and a co-pilot for the heli and jets, and we've got an officer here which will be our high value target. Now the ranks are important because it seems to mess itself up if you don't get the ranks right. So these squads that are placed down, by default the leaders are sergeant, so the other guys have to be higher rank than sergeant. So our driver is lieutenant and our pilot is the major and the co-pilot is captain. So the two pilots each have a different rank, and then the officer is colonel, is the highest rank. So obviously the crewman in the vehicle doesn't really matter. Now you can put as many vehicles as you like. I just wanted the Chinook and this little Prowler. I've done some tests. I had it where I had a couple of different APCs, and it is very OP, because depending on how you set it up, you could potentially have 3 or 4 APCs all travelling together, which you can imagine is very difficult to take out. Once you hit one, they all know where you are and then you're dead. So do bear in mind what you're putting down and how you sort of configure it, which we'll cover. So for now we could just have these two. We could put down another vehicle. Let's put down cars. What have we got here? could put down this other little vehicle as well. It's similar, isn't it? So get rid of the guys out of it. Yeah, so those two, they'll sort of travel together. If there's a patrol of more than one, there's likely that they'll be together, or you could just get two of these or two of these. So that's the population. So what we'll do is we'll open up the definition. So here's the bits we want to change. So what side do you want attacking you? So I've just put east. I think by default it's resistance. So I'll just put east. So it's kind of CSAT. They're all going to be CSAT. And give your faction names. I'll just call them bad guys. You call them whatever you want. So down here, these sort of two values are how big your squads are going to be. So they're basically min max. So squad sizes, that means you're going to have squads of anything between 3 and 9 guys. Vehicle group size, so this is the vehicle patrols I was saying, you could have between 1 and 3 vehicles. So if you've got those little vehicles there, having 3 of them is probably not the end of the world. But if you've got 3 tanks, then it might be a bit difficult. So that's the thing you've got to bear in mind. So tweak them as like per what you've got down there unit wise, so that they're not too OP. And what will happen, these will all disappear on the mission start, and you won't see any of this. But they'll just be a mixture. It will look funny. I've sort of had a little play about, and you can get squads of a mixture of the CSAT and the independent. So it would be better, I believe, to have all of the same squad so they look cohesive. But that's up to you, what you want to do. So what I was saying, this core is set to 3,000. So that's 3 meters, 3,000 meters, sorry. So if we come out, if I go to map, let's just do a quick trigger. So 6, 1. Oh, I did 6 there. Okay, so if I lay that on top, so that is going to be your operation area. I have found that it's quite a lot of stuff that gets crammed in this area. So there is another module here. It's called Extra AO. If we go to here, modules, and I think it's down the bottom somewhere. There is there, Extra AO, VAR, so variable, I believe. So you place that down, which I've put a couple down there. Let me get rid of that. So I've placed one here, one in Pygros. So I've played about with these as well. When you do the missions, and I've had it so that I set it at 1,000, and sometimes nothing spawns in it at all. So 1,500 seems to be a minimum for the size. So what I would do is, let's get rid of that, that's confusing, is I would change this to 1,500, and then that way it's evenly split over different areas rather than having a big area of operations, unless you want to do that. You know, you might want to have it over the military base, airbase, so that it covers the whole lot. But you do get a lot of population, which I'll show you in a minute. What I'll do is I'll go back, put that to 3,000, and we'll show you it as a demo now. What we'll do quickly is go through the missions. Now halfway down you've got this task, mission generator module and mission types module. So drag one of each of those down, which I've got here. So the mission generator, the tasks, the types, sorry, you link that to the generator. So we'll open up the generator, change the enemy side, make sure it matches whatever your population was set at. We set as at east. The other thing you want to change probably is end when complete. So we set that to false. So that means if we did our missions first, then it would end the mission. So say you did 1 or 2 missions and that's all you had on the map, but you wanted to then go around and clear the map of enemies, it would end the mission after you've completed those 2 tasks. So just put that to false unless you want to. Mission count 1, 5. So that will give you anything between 1 and 5 missions. So if you definitely want 5, then you want 5, 5. That will definitely give you 5 missions, or 10, or whatever you want. But if you had it 1 to 5, that will give you anything between 1 and 5 missions. So what we do, I'll leave that 1 to 5 so you can see what we get. Set that to false, and that's all you need to do on that for a minute. Now the mission types, if we open that up, as you can see here, these are all set to 1, but I have set them to 0. So 1 means you'll get a probability of having that. So it's like turning it on and off. So you can see there that if you hover over it, 0 disabled, 2 equals 2 times as likely. So you just put 1 down there, so you're going to have a chance to get one of those missions. The reason I've put 0 on these ones is because they either don't work or they need additional mods to get them working, and I've tested quite a few of them. So the ones that have got 1 on, I've tested and do work. The only addition to this is the, which one is it? Demo, there you go. So demo, we need to add something in for demo. So that's what I've got over here. So if we go up to, I think it's define. So define demo targets module. So we drag that down, which is this here. There's nothing to it. All you need to do is add a couple of things down that you want to destroy. So I've just put radar units down, and then link it to each of them. That's it. So that's set up. What we'll do is we'll show it running. So just so you can see, this is set at 3000, these 2 are set at 1500. So I'll set it for now. I've got my guy over at the airbase, and I've got Zeus just so I can fly over and show you some bits. Okay, so it does takes a minute to populate. What I'll do is just do Zeus now. There you go. So all this information on the map you won't have, we're just having it on there for demo at the moment. See, it's populating our missions now. So just give us 4 missions out of 5 that we could have had. You can see here we've got a garrison, roadblock, and we've got quite a few going on here. So we've got 2 camps, helicopter patrol. Let's have a look at this one over here. So we've got a foot patrol. You can see there, look, the first guy's CSAT, the second guy's resistance, CSAT. There's our vehicle patrol. Okay, static. What we got? Static. So we've got a couple of launcher guys. You can see they're all mixed, so that's just something to bear in mind. It might look a bit weird. So we're going to get rid of this afterwards. Let's go back to the editor. And then what I would do is set that to 1500 and then just add more of these bits in here. So let's go down to, it's down the bottom here, extra AO, so we'll just chuck that in. We'll have one in Sophia and we'll change that to 1500, and we'll have one there. Just chuck that there, 1500, because then it will spread your missions out, because the other thing is it had like 3 missions in one area, so more chance of giving you separated missions, which is just a bit nicer. Okay, so the other thing I was going to say, the core, open that up, and debug mode, hit that to false. So all that information that just looks horrible and it just tells you where everything is, which is cheating, will disappear. So what I would do, because it doesn't tell you anything, I would just put some areas down. So go to markers, clips, I'll just put one down there, 801. Right, and then we'll do 100. Oh no, the marker's half the size, isn't it? There we go. So let's copy that. One there. So at least you know roughly where to go. So you could say that, you know, Recon has found these areas, and that's, you can go to each area then. So it makes sense in a minute. Let's play scenario. And we hit Y, map. You can see all that mess is gone now because we've turned the debug off. We'll just wait for it to populate. There you go. So it's only give us 1 mission out of 5. That's why it's best to specify. So if I go to this area now, we'll see if there's anything in this area. I can see a helicopter over here. I can see a vehicle there. Go back to editor. So I personally use a scenario called Dynamic Universal War System Rebirth. So that does a similar sort of thing, but it's a lot easier to set up, takes a lot less time, and you can actually see area of operations on the map. So you have to let me know if you want me to go through that, but hopefully that covers the basics of this, and you'll be able to sort of set it up and get going. Alright, good luck.